Auzubillahi minash shaitanir rajeem. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Ji ayanu, pakhair agale. Ni hao, shurashumbe, washmale, ohaya gonzaimas, guten morgen, hola, bonjour, privyet, kaifa hal, hale shuma chatore, ahlan wasahlan, marhaba, buna, mucho, gracias, swabia, balli kiraya, hosh galden. Thank you very much everybody for tuning into PTV World. You definitely watching World this morning. Alongside my very well-learned colleague who happens to be Miss Haja Sati, and I happen to be Shahzad Hassan Khan, and we hope and pray that everybody out there is doing absolutely fantastic and they're ready to kickstart their day with us. But let me ask my wonderful colleague whether how she's doing today. Hello, assalamu alaikum. How are you doing today?
Walaikum assalam. Thank you so much for asking me. I'm doing good. How are you?
Well,
Same as ever, energetic. You know, your energy is, I think, crossing the roof.
Shukr alhamdulillah, and it's just because of the fact that, you know, whenever we get some amazing guests on the show, my energy is just on top as well. You know, there are a few people, ladies and gentlemen, where you certainly have to push yourself. But then there are days when you relax and, you know, naturally it just comes out of you. And it's because of the fact that the kind of conversation we're going to have will actually have a greater impact, not just only on men, but women all over the world too as well. We go out in 46 different countries. And a lot of times, Haja, people write to us, sir, what do you eat for breakfast and things like that. But hey, you know what? I think this is how I would want to, or we would want to reciprocate the love which you share with us as well.
Definitely.
And for the last 10 years, you've been sharing it with us as well. Shukr alhamdulillah, successfully, which is why we ranked on number 3, you know, when we talk about the most famous or top 10 shows in Pakistan. So I think all I need to do is shukr alhamdulillah, and please make sure that you do that too as well. But very quickly, Haja, I have a question for you.
Right.
And the question is very simple, but it's humorous too at the same time. And, you know, so I am loud generally when I speak on television.
Right.
Does it really have an impact on your ears when I'm shouting, or, you know, I'm just full of energy?
You have energy. I mean, you're very energetic in that sense, but you do not have a shrill voice in that sense. You know, men do not have a shrill voice in that sense. So it is always good to be.
And you know what? It was not always the case, because, you know, there was a time when I was growing up, I used to pick up my phone, and, you know, somebody on the other side would say, Hanji Baji ki hal hai? And then I was like, you know,
I think that
hey, it's Shahzad here. You know, please make sure
people,
that next time when you call us, you really need to be able to judge as well.
Right.
But I have a very important question for you, because that's the kind of conversation we're going to have, Haja. And that is that, alhamdulillah, you've been with PTV World now for a longer period of time. I think it's been more than 3 years, right?
Yes,
if I'm not wrong. And it's very rare that you come across people who are so well learned, you know, or probably, you know, who's in the habit of reading, who knows what's going all over the world. How has it been for you to be a journalist yourself?
Right. So it has always been a very amazing journey, because I've always been into, you know, reading about politics, about international relations, and lately about philosophy and stuff like that. So I remember, so when I got into NUS, I chose journalism, right? Wow. And I also got into the engineering part of the university. So my father was into, you know, please go to engineering, because, you know, some more nerds are into the engineering. But then I chose the social sciences, and out of that, mass communication. And so my father said, so okay, you have selected this field, but, you know, make sure. So my dada, he wasn't that much a learned person, but my father used to say that he used to listen to the, you know, a very international radio at that time, and he had a very
what do you mean by very international radio though?
So I was about to take the name of the channel, but then
so very came out, right? I think it's wonderful.
I think that's the
and, you know, I'm glad, Haja, I'm glad at the same time that, you know, that I get to work with such amazing people, and I'm truly honored as well. But today, ladies and gentlemen, I think it's going to be a day for me and Haja where we're going to learn quite a lot.
Right.
Imagine somebody who actually started working for PTV and then landed up somewhere in US working for a private organization or an agency, who actually makes sure that whatever they're going to share with the rest of the world will have an impact on the rest of the world as well. So the practices will obviously differ. You know, when you're somewhere geographically placed in a country like Pakistan, you know, you will always have agendas to promote, because we are a public institution, and yes, obviously, we really need to support the government, the initiatives they take. But then at the same time, when you talk about holistically having an approach towards, okay, what's going on in different 196 or 200 plus countries, I think it's mind-boggling at the same time. And then to channel your energy to make sure that, you know, whatever you're going to talk about with research, and then there needs to be proper evidence about it as well. But today, ladies and gentlemen, it's going to be a profile interview, and I believe that, you know, it's going to be helpful for me. And if I believe that it's going to be helpful for me, I do believe that it's going to be helpful for you.
That's true.
Are you excited?
That's true, yes.
I think I'm really excited as well. So she's over here, ladies and gentlemen, started her journey. as a sports broadcast journalist. And from there onwards, back in time, 2002 or 2003, if we talk about women being in sports broadcast journalism, was a very different perspective. And there weren't a lot of channels, there was not a lot of space for people to kind of fill in. So imagine the competition was tough, and you really had to be competitive to make sure that your voice is going to be heard by people. And then from there onwards, she was working here part-time, and then she got a call, that too from such a prestigious organization. I think she made the right choice. And now for 17 years, ladies and gentlemen, she's been working with them. She's based in DC. And yes, we are going to talk about the elderly, the support system, the challenges. But first, let's introduce her, ladies and gentlemen. We're very lucky that we've actually been joined by somebody who happens to be a broadcast journalist herself, a managing editor. She is Miss Aisha Khalid. Hello, assalamu alaikum, good morning.
Hello everyone, and thank you for inviting me to your show. It's so wonderful to be here.
It's an honor to actually host you over here as well as a guest. And we've been chasing you for a longer period of time. Finally, now the time is here that you are here, so it's wonderful to have you.
I'm flattered.
So first things first, what brings you to Pakistan?
My mom's health.
All right.
Yeah, she fell critically ill around 15 days ago, and I had to rush to Islamabad.
Right.
And people say that after seeing me, she recovered.
MashaAllah.
And she says that she has been blessed with a second life. She's 90 plus.
And she's well now?
But yes, in good spirits. So
Alhamdulillah.
And we wish them her a speedy recovery. And
yes,
Allah
of course.
Ta'ala.
Exactly, and not just that, because she will be watching the show as well. So Maji, thank you very much. आपको तो वो देखने आई हैं, साथ हमें भी मौका मिल गया इंटरव्यू करने का. So thank you very much. And Allah आपको बहुत लंबी सेहत जिंदगी दे और तंदुरुस्ती दे. आमीन सुमामी. Now let's get started. So you joined Pakistan Television initially, right at the beginning of your career as well as a sports broadcast journalist. And for somebody, especially for a woman, even though I do not like asking these questions, but that's the truth, that's the reality. How was it? Because it was so competitive, there weren't a lot of women in the field of sports broadcast journalism, then following cricket, football, hockey, or all sorts of sports. Must be a difficult job, no? And how you landed a job in PTV in the first place?
So that's an interesting, history. It was in 2003, around 2003 and 4. I never wanted to be an on-camera person, being on camera, on the screen. For me or for my family, it was not a big charm, attraction, especially after, my sister made a big name.
Yes.
On PTV screens. Yes, Isha Fatma. I used to be teaching. I was a teacher at convent school, and I was teaching science subjects to the middle schoolers. I love teaching. I still believe, and even at that time, I was very passionate about teaching. I still believe that teaching is one of the most fulfilling careers.
And yet here we are.
Yes. And but in the evenings, I used to have some time, free time, and I would, pick my siblings' brains, and I would complain to them, I have free time in the evening, I can do something, what should I do? And then one day my sister said, they're looking for a sport girl, a sports girl, a sports anchor person. And I said, okay, I'll give it a try. But when they interviewed me, Mr. Shakur Tahir, he was the MD News at that time. So I was, alone in the room with him, so I could speak my mind. Yeah. When he asked me, he said, what do you want to do? I said, I don't want to be on camera. And he said, but you are here to be a sports anchor person.
Yeah.
But I said, but you know what? I want to generate content.
True.
I want to be a reporter, or I want to create news. I want to work on the desk.
Creator.
But he said, right now we need a sports anchor person, so why not you start as a sports anchor person? So going back to your question, was it difficult? I didn't find it really difficult.
All right.
I've always enjoyed immensely, working, whether it was as a reporter or as an anchor person. I have always felt that, it gives you an opportunity to explore new ideas, to learn about new things, new topics. Every report that you work on, it is an opportunity for you to learn about that topic. And I've, throughout my career as a reporter, as a managing editor, I have taken it as an opportunity to learn. And I'm still learning. Every day I learn.
Alhamdulillah, that's great. And I know that you have a question, but very certainly, ladies and gentlemen, referring back to where she said that in 2003 she was already teaching. I thought that, you must be studying back then, in 2003. How can you be teaching? Because even now, alhamdulillah, I still cannot figure out that, you've worked 17 long years, alhamdulillah,
Yes.
over there, and yes, obviously over here as well. So congratulations. You've earned a good name to yourself, especially when there's peer pressure. You talked about your sister too as well. I
Yes.
think you've outdone everybody else, mashallah.
Thank you, thank you. And Haja, what was your question?
Right. So I wanted to ask you, sir, and I do believe that all the good journalists were at once a good reporters, right? So if you see the big names at CNN like Robertson and stuff like that, he was a reporter and then he ventured into the field of the new anchorship, right? So I wanted to ask you that, you have been working here in Pakistan and you also working in America. How would you compare the environments of the two, the state of journalism in the two countries, and what do you feel is lagging here, which can be
Zameen
bridged?
आसमान का फर्क है, ये तो नहीं कहना आपने.
No. I would not say कि ज़मीन आसमान का फर्क है. Yeah, there are, things, areas where ज़मीन आसमान का फर्क है, you can say. But there is one stark difference that I would say is the freedom of or independence of thinking, of creativity, right? In the newsrooms, reporters, journalists are given a free hand to come up with their own ideas. Spoon feeding them is very rare. They are given a free hand in coming up with the treatment of the stories. You have to come up with the treatment of the story.
True.
And there is a lot of talk about having a reporter's mindset. If you are a reporter, if you have a reporter's mindset, chalte phirte, you go out, you are walking to the bus stop, you are walking to the metro station,
observe.
you will find 10 stories.
True.
That's
True.
Right?
That's
You step out of your door and you look at the tree and you can find a story, around that tree.
True.
right.
Several stories around that tree. So this is a journalistic, this is a reporter's mindset. And I have noticed a lot of grooming there for that mindset
Okay.
That's true.
and for that independence of thinking.
What sort of
that
grooming?
leads to creativity.
What sort of grooming is?
Yeah. How do we brush that mindset that, hey, you know what, you're being groomed? Because, either grooming can be fruitful for that particular gentleman or the lady, or either that grooming is being done so that they can avoid those sorts of stories too as well, which they keep on bringing to your desk. So we really need to draw the line, and there's very thin line in between. That, grooming for the betterment of the organization and for the betterment of the journalists and the reporters working over there, or either changing their mindset to, hey, you know what, this is what our agenda is and we would want you to follow that.
Not at all. Not at all. It's not
Please,
leading
wazahat
them.
kijiye.
It's not leading them. When I say independence, it means not leading them to a certain, agenda or a certain bend of a story. During my 17 years with my organization, Voice of America, VOA, I have never gotten a direction
Okay.
in terms of what kind of story
Does
you
managing editors get
no,
get
no,
that?
let me
Go ahead.
I've never gotten a direction from the management side, from the administration side, that no, this story you are not going to work on. This is our bend, this is our focus, you have to work on that.
Okay.
This kind of story, you do, and you are not going to be critical of the US government, you're not going to be critical of the US president.
Yep.
No. Yeah, managing editor's job is to guide.
True.
Is to guide. But a good manager is also a good leader.
I think there's a difference between
Is also
criticizing
a
the
good
government
leader.
and the state,
Is
yeah?
also a good leader.
True.
Right? So a good manager is also a good leader, and you need to be a good leader first.
I
Right?
think-
There are lots of managers, and leader's job is to groom that independence, to create that room for
But
independence
for
and
any
creativity.
for any such organization, social media presence, and obviously, when we have such platforms, we do get the liberty to say whatever we want to say. But when it comes down to being a terrestrial channel, I think things will change, and there will be a difference in how BBC or CNN will report, God forbid, or probably how VOA is going to report about a certain topic, and everybody's going to have their own mindset. But okay, it's noted, you've said it that there's freedom and people do things whichever they like as well. Now imagine that as a managing editor, when people come onto your table and they have their own stories, because everybody's thinking about stories over there. Now there are stories which are worthwhile watching, they're worth spending time on, and then there are stories where you really have to kind of tell them, hey, you know what, there's nothing in your story, please go find something interesting.
Yes, definitely.
Right? So,
it happens all the time.
Exactly, and
it
that's
happens
what I
all
wanted,
the time.
That's what I wanted to ask. So as a managing editor, how do you put yourself in those shoes that, okay, yeah, now I'm not a journalist, I'm a managing editor, and I really need to appreciate the work they're putting in, and then at the same time guide them, कि बेटा कुछ अच्छा भी सोच के ले आओ. So let's talk about that.
So again, when I said grooming and, providing the right kind of leadership, but at the same time, there are 3 journalistic principles
Go ahead.
that all the journalists are bound to follow, and they are part of their performance measurements.
Okay.
It is objectivity, it is balance, and
Really?
it is, yes, and it is comprehensiveness.
True.
A story needs to be objective. A story needs to be objective, your story idea. Your story needs to be comprehensive.
True.
In my 17 years of my career with VOA, if any of my stories, that there was only one story that was rejected.
I was about to ask
If it
that.
was rejected,
Why?
it was rejected because it was missing one important voice that would have covered one important angle.
Or
And we
aspect,
did not
yeah.
have that point of view. We could not have
And
that
you
point of
agreed
view.
to it when they told you that, hey,
There
you know
was
what?
a lot of back and forth. There was a
Okay.
lot between me and my managing editor at that time.
Okay.
And finally, I was able to, get that interview. But initially, my report was, it was rejected
All right.
because it was missing that balance.
And you understand that now.
So, and yes,
Wonderful.
even at that time, I always encourage my reporters, come back to me, knock on my door, and they really appreciate it. They really appreciate it. They express it that Aisha, your door is always open.
Mashallah.
You're open to listen to our critique. So here it is. So 3 journalistic,
Basic principles,
journalistic principles that everybody has to follow. So if a story comes that is not objective, it's very easy for me to tell them, and it's very easy for them to understand. Okay, my story is missing objectivity.
True.
And even when they are working on it, they are in the middle of working on it. If they are missing an important angle, that would make it lacking of balance. What? See, your story is lacking balance, so you have to add more voices.
True.
So that is taken care of there. But then there is a lot of screening. Screening of the script, screening of
Before going on air.
screening of the video, but the principles of that screening, checking of the scripts are only those 3.
And they're same for everybody,
They're
so
same for
across all
everybody.
channels it's going to be
Yes.
same for everyone. Wonderful. Now let's come down to where you actually spoke about your elder sister as well. She's
Yes.
a superstar of Pakistan television in Pakistan as well. But while we speak of her, obviously there's a lot of peer pressure. If I will have my elder siblings doing wonderfully well in life, which they are, alhamdulillah, I'm glad, first of all, that I'm the chota bhai in the house, so I do not have that pressure, and they obviously look after us every single time when we're around. But luckily, everybody's from a very different walk of life. Some are doctors, some are aestheticians, and so it's a very different family. But for you, to be in the same field where your sister's actually gotten so far, where she's earned herself so much respect and name, the pressure is there. Not negatively, but positively. You take inspiration from your siblings, and you're always learning. So how was it? How was the relationship you had with your sister? And then do you think that it actually gave you that propel which you needed to be where you are today?
And did she groom you for being
Kaisha, isko aise kar lo, aise kar lo. Or were you like, yaar, aap hi mujhe batao na, main kar lungi. Something like that, please.
So as I mentioned, early on that I never wanted to be on the
On
screen.
camera,
I was never big on that, right?
Yeah.
So, but I ended up being on the screen. So I would say most of the key things for being on camera, for on my on-camera presence, I learned from her.
MashaAllah.
How to face the camera,
Right.
how to suppress your cough if you know you're having some issue with your throat, how to face the camera, and also very strong lights. These lights are not as strong, by the way.
All right. I think
The-
these are the
the
strongest
lights-
we can get in Pakistan.
The lights of the Khabarnama
Oh, yeah,
that I
yeah.
used to be part of,
Back in those
I
days.
started off with. They were so strong, and the camera used to be right next to the lights, and you know, you had to keep your eyes
Open.
in in front of those very strong
that's true.
lights.
That was
So I
true.
learned that, and also how to keep your cool, how to keep your calm when the managing editor, the director news,
You yourself.
would be the director news would be coming, running into the studio
MCR, yeah.
with the handwritten notes, and shoving in front of the
Hey, Aisha, you really need to put this story up.
throwing in front of the main anchor. I was not the main anchor. I was the sports anchor person. Later on, I became the main anchor person, not for the Khabarnama, for the shorter duration news bulletins. And I was with PTV World or PTV for a very short period of time. I was an anchor person for a short period of time. I did some reporting, but as I said, I was part time. Unlike you guys.
No,
Yes, I like you
and,
guys,
and it was wonderful. And
Right.
it's wonderful to listen to your story as well. And I think there's quite a lot of learning for us too as well. But very quickly, towards the end of this segment, I would kind of request you to please share your thoughts and your learnings of how you have made sure that you're going to be this empowered lady which you are today, and how difficult was it initially for you, and then where did it become easy for you, and now you're like, hey, you know what? It's peanuts. Bring it here. Bring it on. So this is your camera. Please talk to our audiences.
It's never easy. It's never easy, and I don't think that one should ever take it easy.
True.
And this is what my sister taught me, and I learned from her, especially for an on-camera appearance. She always told me, for each of your on-camera appearance, take it as if it is your first day
Wonderful.
being on camera. And I would tell you, the first day, I was like, the first day that I appeared on PTV's camera, I was like, it's so easy. My performance was so good. Next day, my sister told me, you were lacking something. You were not talking to the audience. Remember, there are millions of people watching you. And once that realization hit me, the next day, I fumbled. I realized, but I was talking to the I was not talking to the dead piece of equipment at that time.
True.
I had the realization,
Yeah, I'm talking to
man, you're talking to millions of people. You have big responsibility on your shoulders now.
Right.
So, so it never gets easy.
people. Exactly. And thank
Boss
you.
lady, you said boss lady.
Boss lady.
Boss
And
lady, but I would tell you, I'll go back to your question now. You know what? It was the transition for me, it was not difficult. Why? Because I think one, maybe the American culture there that I've been working in. It's not like I am your boss. I just asked one of the team members for water, glass of water. He said, we are waiting for the office boy. When he comes, you'll get water, but you intervened and you helped me out. But if you walk into my office, there's a team of 20 people working there. If you ask me for a glass of water, I would get up and I'll get you a glass of water.
Wow, wonderful.
I would even walk you to Starbucks next door and I would buy you coffee.
Wow.
When I am walking out of my office, I'm going to get coffee for myself. I would ask everybody,
Wow.
does anybody want coffee? And I'll come back with 4 cups of coffee in my hand.
And it's
So this is the work environment that I like. Some of the new hirees that we hire who have been working for local TV channels, it's so interesting. They would call me in the beginning. They tend to call me ma'am. And I hate that word and they know it. And I always tell them, please don't call me ma'am, call me Aisha. Because then you cannot have that relationship. You cannot be candid with me.
True.
You cannot tell me what my fault is, where I am wrong.
True.
And you don't want to create an environment
Wow.
where Shahzad cannot stand up and say, Aisha, you were wrong there.
And I
If
think
you're
you
calling
certainly
me
have
a
beautiful
ma'am,
heart.
it will be very hard for you to tell me, Aisha, you were wrong there. It was your fault.
And you certainly have a beautiful heart. The best part over here is that we might not have Starbucks, but we do have a lot of coffee houses. So,
Let's go.
you're more than welcome.
Let's go there.
You're more than welcome. But right after the show, obviously, we have another segment to attend to as well, ladies and gentlemen. Obviously, when we are in conversation with such people who have made their life so amazing, alhamdulillah, but every single day they have kept in their mind that focus, and that's something which is important. That motivation is important. And at the same time, yes, I think it's very true that, we certainly have different cultures, we come from different places. I go to UK, I really probably, had to clean my washroom myself. That's the practice how it is. But imagine people over here in the lower segment really deserve salaries too. They need to run their household. So obviously we need to have jobs, which is why I think that's what the culture is over here. But I'm very apologetic about that. But I still did rescue you, right? So, I'm glad. But for everybody who's out there, ladies and gentlemen, such motivation stories need to come out as they are. And, this is our humble initiative to make sure that everybody kind of understand that, life is not just boundaries. Life is beyond boundaries. So please make sure that every time you think about something, you go for it. Focus, motivation, dedication, the support system works. And I'm going to agree to where she said that, hey, what? That, her sister told her that, you're missing out on something. Imagine, so I was doing this show with Mr. Humayun Saeed Saab. And, that was the very earlier phase of my life.
Right.
I was like, Humayun Bhai, I'm very nervous. I don't know what's going to happen on stage. So Humayun Bhai said, do you know what? That every time I go on stage, I'm always nervous. And I was like, why? You've got so much experience on your sleeves. She was like, this is something I've kept with myself, that every time I'm going to go on stage, I will feel nervous.
Okay.
I'm not going to be overconfident this way, and that I will prepare more. And that thing has always been with me so far. So every time I'm about to start a show, I'm like, Haja, I don't know what we're going to do, or something of that. So that nervousness needs to be there so that you're not overconfident and that you're over-prepared. I think that's something very important. Thank you very much, Miss Aisha. It was wonderful to have you over here in the studios and to
It was my pleasure.
talk to you.
It was
Because
absolutely.
we never said ma'am, so we were very candid anyways, So I think it was great.
But can I add
Sure.
something here about my appearance here?
Sure.
And I must clarify this, that I'm a journalist with Voice of America, but I'm not participating in this show as a spokesperson of Voice of America
Obviously.
or of the US government. I just wanted to clarify that, and this is our policy too.
And which is why, we shared it with our audiences as well, that we're very lucky that we've been joined by somebody who happens to be a wonderful journalist. Never mentioned the organization's name as well. So for everybody who's out there, we're heading out towards a short break. Please make sure that you stay true to your dreams, because that's how they come true. Hey, I'm glad you guys are still here. Thank you very much for staying tuned to PTV World, and you're obviously still watching World this morning alongside Ms. Hajar Sati, and I happen to be Shahzad Hasan Khan. And Hajar, I have a question.
Right.
I don't know, but I think my parents are tricking me every single day.
Why?
You know, it's because of the fact that every time I go to my father or my mother, I'm like, yaar, aam nahi aaye. And they're like, beta, अच्छे आम नहीं आए अभी तक market में. And everywhere else I go, everybody's offering mango shakes.
No, there's a lot of, sweet and very nice mangoes.
Have
in
you
the
had
market.
them already?
Yes,
Where
yes.
did you got them from?
Yes, I don't know. My mother brought it. It's her department. It's not my department.
Because you know what, with mangoes, over here there's a culture that a lot of people will actually gift you a lot of mangoes and you will receive them, and it's just a festivity.
And in the words of Ghalib, meethe or bahut or this is the
Wow.
two qualities that we would like to have in the mangoes. And I think it's also time that we need to have some very strong friendship with the people belonging to the areas of South Punjab, because
I've already started texting them, kya hua bhai, aam nahi aa rahe kya?
Right.
So things like that. So ladies and gentlemen, so we wanted, because mangoes actually, we refer to it as king of all fruits as well.
Right.
So we actually have a small report. We hope that you're actually going to go out today and make sure that you're going to buy a lot of mangoes.
And I think it's also the cultural ambassador of Pakistan too,
yes,
right?
it
because
is.
Our embassies are having, mango festivals around the world, and whenever people eat them, they appreciate them so much, the mango.
And not just that, even amongst larger families or bigger families, what we do is there's mango party kar rahe hain ji, aaj hum, so what we do is that bring in a lot of mangoes, probably put them under ice cubes for a longer period of time, then make desserts out of it.
Right.
And we're just a mango loving nation, and eventually you will see that half of Pakistan after the summers will actually gain 5 or 6 kgs as well, and it's just mangoes, nothing else.
Right.
So quick report on mangoes. Go ahead, take a look, and when you guys will come back, we have an interesting music video launch for you guys as well. So please make sure that you stay tuned. Mangoes coming your way. यार अगर अम्मी आप सुन रही है, please थोड़े ले आइए.
In Pakistan, summers are known for extreme high temperatures, monsoons, and the king of fruits. Yes, mangoes. Mango season is finally here, and the wait is over for all the people around Pakistan. The summer season in Pakistan also means that loads of different kinds of fruits are finally arriving, especially mangoes. Pakistan is the 5th largest producer and the 3rd largest exporter of mango in the world, with hundreds of varieties being produced in-house. There are tremendous benefits of mangoes along with their sweet and sour taste. Mangoes in Pakistan are usually cultivated in tropical areas and provide numerous benefits, such as the leaves, the bark, and even the skin. Because of this, Pakistani mangoes hold a special place in our hearts, and that's why they are exported all around the world. This versatile fruit can be consumed in a lot of ways. For example, it can be eaten raw, in salads, desserts, can be made into different types of mango pickles, or blended into smoothies, shakes, and even mango lassi, which is very popular all over the country. Most popular kinds of mangoes that are found in Pakistan are Chaunsa, Sindri, Anwar Ratol, Langra, Dussehri. Here are top 5 health benefits of mango. They're rich in protective antioxidants, they aid digestion, they help to maintain healthy skin and hair, they support heart health, and are beneficial for eye health. Clearly, mangoes can be part of a balanced diet and help you maintain good health.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, so obviously after the Nature's launch of mangoes, everybody's going to go crazy about them, but obviously, since we get as an opportunity to be nature's creation, ladies and gentlemen, we do create a lot of things. So we're very lucky that we've actually been joined by some wonderful musicians over here in the studios, but we're not going to introduce them as of now. Imagine, so this gentleman has been on the show before as well. His name is Sama Hashmi. I'm not going to show his face, but his teacher happens to be Mr. Shabi Sen, who actually belongs from a very musical family as well, and there's a rich history. So he's written the lyrics, he's composed it, he's directed it, and he's given it to his student. Hey, you know what? Yellow pakawa halwa khao. So that's what we're going to actually share with you guys on screen. Please go ahead, take a look at this music video coming your way, Haidryam, which is releasing today. Please go ahead, check it on YouTube as well. Take a good listen, and let's come back after the music video.
Haidryam, 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 Haidryam. Haidryam, Haidryam, Haidryam. Kalandaram mastam mastam, Bandai Murtaza Ali hastam, Ali Ali. Haidryam, Haidryam, Kalandaram mastam mastam, Bandai Murtaza Ali hastam, Ali 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 Ali. Haidryam, Haidryam, Kalandaram mastam mastam, Bandai Murtaza Ali hastam.
Right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. And that was the music video of Haidryam as well. We're very lucky that we've been joined by the entire team behind them. First of all, obviously, the vocalist himself, who happens to be Mr. Osama Hashmi. Hello, assalamu alaikum. How are you doing today?
I'm very fine, sir. And how's about you?
Absolutely. So far, so good. Thank you very much for joining us. Wonderful to have you with us as well. And alongside him, ladies and gentlemen, the villain who appeared in the music video of Haidryam is with us too as well. Thank you very much, Javed, for joining us. How are you doing today?
I am fine.
Thank you very much for joining us, and you certainly should have been the hero within the music video.
Yeah.
But congratulations, you guys
Thank you
did a
very much.
wonderful job as well. And last but not the least, ladies and gentlemen, we're very lucky that we've actually been joined by a session player too as well, and he happens to be Mr. Sameer. Hello, Sameer.
Hello.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you very much for joining us. So, Osama, since we're very short on time, you know, the objective was to kind of share the music video, which you just recently released. Tell us a little about it, and then we will listen to a wonderful song, and we'll move on towards the closing.
Basically, the concept behind Haidryam was that we wanted to debate something about the concept of Sufism in Pakistan. You know that we have to take some positive vibes from this concept, and you know that behind Sufism, we wanted to take the nation of Pakistan out of depression, because every time we are listening to love song, sad song, tragic song, patriotic song. This time I wanted to do something very different. Like
You did. That was very much evident. You look like Arthur Ghazi.
So we have tried to depict something very different this time, because people want to listen something which is peaceful, giving them pleasure and harmony. So this is what we have tried, and we have composed this composition into some semi-classical beats, western beats, upbeats. Yeah. So definitely we have tried much to get some good thing into this song, and that we are very much hopeful about that.
Right, and thank you so much for saying that, and bringing spirituality once again into a music arena. So we would like to listen to a song.
Obviously, definitely.
And before we listen to that song as well, ladies and gentlemen, since we're short on time, please make sure that you log on to the YouTube channel as well. Make sure that you like Haidryam as well by Osama Hashmi. The entire team has been here as well. Thank you very much, Javed, for joining us. Thank you very much, Sameer, for being with us as well. So towards the end, ladies and gentlemen, look after yourselves on our behalf and our team's behalf. Good morning. Have a great week ahead as well. So let's go. Let's take it away.
खरा मैं नज़ारा जदों दी तस्वीर दा खरा मैं नज़ारा जदों दी तस्वीर दा पैंदा ए भुलेखा मैनू सोहणी ससी हीर दा खरा मैं नज़ारा जदों दी तस्वीर दा पैंदा ए भुलेखा मैनू सोहणी ससी हीर दा खरा मैं नज़ारा जदों दी तस्वीर दा चन्ने ओनू प्यार नाल दूर बैठा तकदा अखां विच नींदा दा खुमार पिया वसदा दिल ओदे मुखड़े दा जान मेरी कड़दा यार मेरा बादशाह हुस्न दी जागीर दा खरा मैं नज़ारा जदों दी तस्वीर दा पैंदा ए भुलेखा मैनू सोहणी ससी हीर दा खरा मैं नज़ारा.
Wow, that was wonderful. Thank you very much, Osama, and the entire team for being with It's lovely to be in conversation with you. Please keep on making some good music and sharing it with the rest of the world too as well. Thank you very much, Javed. Thank you very much, Sameer, for being with us, for joining us as well. And for everybody who's out there, please make sure to check out Haidryam. Ladies and gentlemen, till the next time, look after yourselves. 1, 2, 3.
World
Good
is
morning.
लेकिन अगर कोई लाइक आई सेड कि अगर कोई ऐसा मसला है और हमारे